What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of I've Got Time Today. I can't wait to share with you just a different way to interact with our content, but let's get it going.
You can make it, Daddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome again to the I've Got Time Today podcast. My name is Taylor Gray. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's been an interesting year, man. Like, so many things are going on, and it's crazy to say we are now in the month of April. So really quick, I want to get this out of the way so we can get right into our conversation. Like I said, this is a special episode, and I want to introduce you to some of my family. So today, I want to basically remind everybody that I do have another podcast, 2 seasons of another podcast called Make It Plain. Make It Plain is a podcast about the life and legacy of Malcolm X, and we try to explore a lot of what he said and did from a Christian worldview. My co-host for that podcast is my friend Phil Holmes down in Mississippi, and we're looking at planning to do another season, but one of the cool things that came out of the 2 seasons we did was some nice merch. So this is one of my favorite mugs here. And we look forward to exploring just the topic of Malcolm X even further. There's so much more to be said about his life and legacy. And as a Christian, as a follower of Jesus Christ, I think we all can benefit from a closer look at the way that his example relates to our times today. I'm not wearing any local brands or anything like that, just the standard fear of God. But we talked about that last episode in terms of how culture relates to our practice of faith. If you are following me on social media, you can follow me at Taylor_Gray on Instagram and on Twitter/X. And just put in my government name, Taylor Gray, if you're looking for me on Facebook, and you should be able to find me. Also, if you would like to support the podcast and make sure that we continue to churn these episodes out, again, we're on the once a month cadence. You can send donations to either Cash App or PayPal. And again, for those of you who have been supporting, thank you so much. Really means a lot. So we're going to get into this special edition of the I've Got Time Today podcast because I've got some special guests with me. This is a group of brothers who are my friends, are my literal family and figurative family. This is a group that I like to affectionately refer to as Hunned Fold, but we've shortened it and called it the Fold. And I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves, but they're gonna join us for an interesting conversation today. We always keep it funky with one another, so we're gonna try to just recreate our times of chilling together. So to my immediate right, I got my cousin Cam. I'll let him kick us off, and everybody can just introduce yourselves the way you feel.
Yo, what up? Cam, aka Cambino. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Yeah, man, I'm very happy to be here today. Taylor's my cousin, little cuz, super proud of everything that he's doing, and excited to be here. Let y'all get an inside look at how we do it when we just kicking it amongst each other. So strap in. It's gonna be fun.
Man, this feel like one of them town hall meetings at work where you got to give your favorite color and your favorite food. I'm Brandon Moses, aka B Moses. My favorite food is steak. Nah, I'm playing, but I mean, I'm excited. We've been doing this for years. It's about time we've actually highlighted this session. So I've been looking forward to this, man. So let's do it.
Nigel Mills, aka Nine Mills. Just happy to be with my brothers here. Like you said, it's been a long time coming. Glad that we can share this moment together, have a conversation, just have some fun.
Aaron Fluellen. I don't have an AKA. Just Aaron Fluellen, just a regular dude. Just out here chilling. So glad to be here. You know what I'm saying? Kicking it with my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Got to get them activations. Yeah. Look, this is one of my great joys is just kick it with people who I've known for a significant amount of time, seen some different life stages, seasons. For me personally, we've all just kind of collectively stayed together for a long time, man. I believe it's been like 15 plus years at this point, you know.
Long time.
Yeah.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's been more.
Oh yeah, almost 20.
Yeah, almost 20.
So it's just number one, it's just a blessing to have a friend for 15 plus years, to have like a solid group that remains together. And, you know, I do a lot of different things artistically, ministry wise, and show up in different spaces for different reasons. But as Aaron just said, like, you know, it's just refreshing to get together with regular guys, you know, and not have to feel like you have to perform or act like a different person in front of your homies. And these are my brothers, man. They've helped get me through some incredibly difficult seasons, and also celebrated with me during some of the greatest times of my life as well. So I'm just honored that we get a chance to put this on film, and hopefully we'll have some more parts to this as we continue on. So
Yeah, why is it that we feel like we gotta put on a different face in certain circumstances versus just being us at all times? I know that's off script.
I love it. I mean, I talk all the time. I want to know what y'all think about that. Like, do you feel like you still have to do that?
I try not to as much as I possibly can, because I just don't like fake stuff, and I never have, and I don't feel comfortable doing it. So, I mean, clearly there are certain situations that may cause for you to be maybe more toned down or more professional and all that kind of stuff, but I want to show up authentically as me as often as possible. Yeah. Otherwise, I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing God a disservice. Yeah. And I feel like I'm doing people a disservice. Because I don't, you know, I would just rather be real. So, but I do understand that there's sometimes some tension with that. Yeah. So, like, what are y'all's thoughts on that? Like,
so that's the key. You said as often as possible. Like, that's the key. So, for example, listen, you know, at my job, we got a few, you know, black folk, but mostly, you know, white folk. And so, you know, the situation like in corporate America, it's like you can only be fully yourself as much, depending on the situation, because of the judgment, how they come at you, how they may treat you. So I try whenever I have a moment to try to, you know, just kind of be me fully. I'll give them a little dab, but not overwhelm them, because you know how it is.
You wear your kufi to work.
So I might throw in a little comment or joke or something just to kind of dip my toe in the water. But you know, with certain things, you gotta. Yeah. So I'm saying, can't like if in a perfect world, I would do that all the time, but it's not always like that. Right. Unfortunately, but I try my best, like you said, as often as possible to do that, to flow in that.
Yeah. So World Changers Church, you know, they want you to come up and share a testimony, and they give you the microphone. You stand in front of everybody, and in that setting, you are going to be 1,000% Cam and not sugarcoat nothing. You're not going to revert to church mode.
1,000% Cam, I'm going to say no. I'm not coming up and grabbing the microphone unless I want to speak. That's 100%, 1,000% Cam. Yeah. And Mills, you probably been in situations like that, like where you seen me do that. Like I remember, bro, we was at CCC, and there was a lady who was up performing some kind of a song or something like that. She was doing the song. She was like, Cambino, why don't you come up here and rap? And the camera pans to me, and I'm shaking my head like, no. That's not this ain't that type of party. Like, I don't get up just because you asked me to get up. So it's just, I feel like that would be the same way, bro. That's just me. Like, you're not gonna come testify because I said so.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that probably ain't happening.
With the furtherance.
Furtherance, yeah.
Remind me what World Changers is.
Oh, that's Creflo Dollar's church
that's right,
down
that's
in
right.
Atlanta.
That's right.
Which we could talk about the Atlanta trip, but you know, how much time we got. But you know, I've been on this personal mission for the past couple of years. I think, you know what, I've learned from Cam, because Cam has often shown up like truly as himself no matter where I see him. But in the past couple of years, I've been trying out like this real test of whether or not I could eliminate code switching, like in everything.
How's that going for you?
It's very liberating, but you feel the tension all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Every time.
Right.
Like somebody is like projecting on you like an expectation of how you respond. And you really have to make a decision. First of all, you have to be aware. And then secondly, you have to make a decision. So I'm enjoying it so far. Corporate America, you're right. It's a tricky balance. But if I were now, I guess at this stage of life, if I were ever back in a corporate environment, then yeah, bro, they would probably meet Taylor Gray.
How long has it been since you've been in corporate?
It's as far as like my full-time job, it's been close to 10 years.
Dang, that time flew.
It did.
Since you stepped down?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. 2016. The year Donald Trump got elected.
He liberated you.
They'll start.
But have you felt, because I know you've done some like contract work, so have you felt less pressure when it comes to those environments?
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't feel the pressure like, yeah, but I'm getting my
That's-
bag, I'm going home, like ain't no
100%.
obligation. Okay.
Oh, bro, I'm in the airport. Me and Aaron talk about it sometimes. Like, we would travel for the purposes of that job, and I'm in the airport with like full hoodie, you know, like my headphones, like super comfortable, and I'm meeting somebody who I'm going to have to do the presentation with later, and they looking at me like, "Are you sure you're qualified?" And then I show up with my shirt tucked in, and you know, whatever. I don't want to lose the sale. You know, but at the same time, I have to decide like whether or not I'm going to use my real voice, whether I'm going to actually share my true interests, and decide if I'm actually going to hang out with these people when I'm done with it. Like, am I here to do a job or am I here to be your friend?
Yeah.
Real quick, the other thing I've been thinking about is, especially these corporate settings, it's easier to be yourself and really clown and do you when you have somebody else who you can directly relate to.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about that. Like, look, I got love for people, my team, my job. I got, you know, some cool people, but ain't no Hunned Fold at my job. Ain't no, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of harder to shift gears and do that when there's no one. You might say something, they go way over their head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got that element as well, but.
But are you like, do you feel like you're a natural extrovert, like in general though?
Yeah, I'm the guy that's gonna go up to Billy Bob in Walmart and talk to him with no issue in the line while we're waiting to check out. Like, I will talk to anybody. I'm an extrovert. Like, I'm not like shy at all.
The small talk
that
king.
is that is true. Yeah, I can. My small talk bag is on point. You know what I mean? Like, but listen, that's how that small talk will get you a lot of extra fries and free burgers and discounts. on stuff.
Extra fries was how the girls told you they liked you.
So I'm just saying, I've got a lot of perks and favor and free stuff just being pleasant and talking to folk.
I feel like corporate, I mean, it's trained us or conditioned us to like learn how to like communicate that way. Yeah. Because I feel it easy to communicate with people, not giving them all the credit, but I mean, think about it. Like, we've been working since we've been teenagers, so we've been kind of conditioned. How's the weather?
So, okay, is that a fact? Like, is everybody here? We've been working since we were teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long? When was your first? Go ahead.
I'm gonna jump right in. Listen, first job, McDonald's, the old McDonald's that got tore down by the flea market on Livingston and Courtright. That McDonald's. I worked at. They was selling weed out of there.
Trap house.
All type, yeah. You know, they was ratchet before
Daddy
ratchet was a
fries.
thing. But I had some great memories there. But my first job was McDonald's on Livingston.
How old?
15. So
And you've been working for the man ever since.
nonstop ever since. I've done everything from loading and unloading trucks to warehouse jobs. Y'all remember the infamous picture with the Eddie Kane, that crazy hair? I done did every job you could think of, man. Before I hit corporate America, when I hit corporate America, it's been nonstop banking or something like that. But before that, I did everything.
I mean, I ask that because I don't know if that's the expectation of kids now. You know, like, are kids going to getting jobs as teenagers to have their own money? You know,
I guess it kind of depends on the kid. Like, I think some of them still are. I think we gonna, probably dive into fatherhood a little bit later on. Yeah. But that's kind of one of the challenges for me because all of us want our kids to have it better than we had it, right? So, I mean, sometimes we went out and got jobs and did things because it was a necessity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I needed to make sure that I was good, and not even just because the family was like broke at all times, but just because I was independent and rebellious. And so like I wanted things my way. And when I had my own money, that gave me options. I found that out real early in life. Like I can do what I want with this money. So if mom makes this for dinner and I don't want it, I can order myself a pizza if I want to when I got money. Or if mom doesn't want to buy the shoes, it's fine. I'll buy them myself. And I like that independence. So you want your children to have that same kind of mentality and be able to learn how to get out there and get it. But then at the same time, I also don't want my son to have to worry about working when I know that he's pursuing athletics full time, and I know how much time that takes and the grind that he's trying to put in there. And he wants his grades to be right and stuff like that. So I don't want him to have to balance or juggle things unnecessarily. Right. So it's kind of like trying to find that sweet spot. You know what I mean? Where and some kids got to do it, other kids just don't care. Just like getting licensed, like driving and stuff. Like kids don't even want to go get that. They're not excited to go get their L's. Like I couldn't imagine a world like that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the times is a little bit different. So I think it kind of depends on the kid, man. Some of them are hustlers by nature. They still got it in them, just different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Then when we was little, and a lot of them are legal, thankfully. Some of them aren't. But yeah, I think it just kind of depends on the kid.
Man, I had my temps as soon as I could at 15.
Yeah.
And my license at 16, like immediately. But
Birthday.
you're right. Yeah, like bro, like so look, you're right. Some of these kids I've noticed today, I don't know where the lack of motivation comes from. I don't know if it's just parents just kind of not really, kind of imparting that. You see your mom and dad working hard. You hear the testimonies. I work hard because I see my mom work hard every day. You know what I mean? Like the athletes giving their testimony. But it just seemed like today it's a little more laid back, more social media, more TikTok-y, more whatever.
You know why though? Because some of them see these stars, these social media stars making bread. And they're like, why am I go out here and bust my tail for 10, 12, $13 an hour when I can do this? I can play games. I can game all day and make bread.
Like them, man, bro.
But
I was shocked.
So that's the thing. Okay, so that's the thing about our relationship that I think about a lot is, man, if we were young during this era,
Jesus.
Where you can make content online, the stuff that we were just doing.
Oh yeah.
Just in the apartment setting, like just kicking it together. Like if we have footage of that stuff. Oh my God, bro.
Man, we still had the chirps and
the level of recklessness.
Oh my God.
That I would have been on, bro. If all of the things were at my disposal that I have now, nigga. No way, bro. Wouldn't want nothing to do with it. That's one of the things I'm super proud of my son. I tell him all the time, like, man, you way better than me, bro. I'm so proud of you for just being the young man that you are. 'Cause, nigga, if I had the things that are available today,
right.
But he has you though to guide him, so that's helpful.
That's true.
But yeah.
No, I don't know, man. I don't know if you want to go do a deep dive on my Edge Up is Crispy or anything like that. But like, that's the example of creativity that literally just naturally came out of us kicking it. You know what I'm saying? So in some ways, I admire the kids for their creativity and taking advantage of the moment where they can like showcase different forms of like entertainment, to be honest with you, because I mean, now cable TV is pretty much dead and people watch YouTube as like literally their television programming.
Right.
So you got people on these platforms that literally create contents like flipping channels. So, man, I just wish 25-year-old us during this era would have been dangerous.
Whose fault is it that Edge Up Crispy never came out?
I mean,
Hold on. How was it my fault?
I got the record.
I was cool. I was cool with it coming out.
I tried to shoot the video.
And then you wrote a verse to it, like
did I?
I think
I
did Chris
think
write a
you
verse
did.
to it too, or just Cam?
No, I didn't.
Nah, Cam.
No, I said Chris.
no, you wrote a verse.
Cam
to
wrote
it.
a verse.
Cam
to
wrote a
it.
verse to
Yes.
it?
Bro.
Yeah.
You wrote a verse?
Bro, I don't have any idea. All of this is news to me. I'm not saying that this didn't happen.
It absolutely
I
happened.
push, bro. I don't know.
Who wrote
It was one of them late night enclave sessions.
Oh,
where,
the Enclave.
yeah.
So just so the viewers understand, this is a song that Nigel created, because this is a great segue into the next
When
question.
he had an edge up.
You said when he had it. He had it.
Hey, it was,
I kind of low-key hesitated like, for a second. I looked at Nah.
Nigga, this is video.
Nah, around that time it was like creeping up here. But furthermore,
I'm just laughing because I hesitated. I was like, Nigel created, like, you know, but the hair was
Then
there.
the camera pans still like,
Where's the lineup?
Nah, but the question I was going to ask is, like, you know, we spent a lot of time together just like kicking it in the Enclave. You're going to hear the Enclave a lot because this is an apartment that we all just found our way to just either after events on the weekend or just throughout the week. We would just find time to kick it. But all of us, I think, were aspiring artists. I think all of us have been aspiring artists.
Were you a full? Would you claim that?
You got recordings.
Well, I mean, but do you claim it? Like, do you claim it? Let me speak.
I can't really say that I would say yes and no. I dabbled in it. Like I had moments where I was like, I could really do it, but then, you know, I married into a family, so then I felt like I didn't have time, so I had to like go in grind mode.
Did you ever have anything mixed?
Oh, I had some stuff recorded for sure.
He said mixed and mastered.
Yes, I had.
oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I did.
We did
It's
a
in
couple.
it's in the computer.
So I'm
It's in the
saying,
bank.
I'm asking if you were to think back to the time where we were all aspiring to be artists, do you feel like we fail? Like in general, like what did you think was going to happen, and then what actually happened?
man, shoot.
What did you think? What did we think was possible? Like,
Is that a question for everybody?
yeah,
Or just-
everybody,
I'll tell you something.
anybody.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Dang, why you gotta put it on me like
Because
that?
you was just talking. They just
failed. Okay, Aaron's gonna answer
Well,
that
that's what I'm
question.
saying. Like, what is failure? Like, you know,
All right.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, you know,
I mean, I'll jump right into it. So, I mean, listen, man, and this can kind of go hand in hand with the good old days of church conversation. I don't know if that's a segue or not, but I mean, back then, I feel like all of us received a prophecy or two about what the Lord was going to do. Have we not? I know I have. And listen, we saw success.
but tell me what the prophecy was. Like, give me the scenario.
I said B. Moses
Just
gonna be
one
rapping
Verbatim,
forever.
big.
Trying to think, man. I think the pretty much the summary of it was, you know, nations. You know, the whole like big platform, which I did step on some big platforms, but you would think walking away from that, you know, I would be traveling all over the world. Which I want to bring up a point about that, which we've talked about with some of our leadership back in those days. I can get to that later, but just stuff like that. And I think we had the talent and the ability to actually go higher than we did back then. But that's another conversation we could bring up later.
Yeah, but why didn't it happen? What happened? Like, we had aspirations.
All right.
And we believed we were making things that we believed were going to be successful.
All right, I'll get into it now then. Look, this is how I see it. I'm just going to be straight with y'all. So we saw, in our humble opinions, lesser artists to be charitable being pushed by large ministries going all over the country and beyond, right? So we felt like back then that the leadership we were around, not just in our churches, but in our community, who had connects, who had the ability to open doors, could have done a lot better with that. Because listen, man, we had some heat in Columbus. We had cats coming from all over the state of Ohio, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton, Toledo, Akron, to Columbus for events and just the buzz and just the consistency. And we were at the epicenter. We were the dudes in the midst of that. Like, really, there's a lot of other cats that's not here, but we represent them. And so we feel like, because listen, let's just be honest. Some of these artists that have blown up, they tell the story about how, it was Eminem or 50 Cent or whoever that opened the door for me. They gave me an opportunity. We had people in place who had connects that I feel like could have done that would have given us the ability to get on those platforms, because it wasn't a lack of talent. and ability, in my opinion. And so that's just how I feel about it. I think that's a part of it. Now, me personally, and I don't want to dominate, I'll just end here. Me personally, I was real skeptical about just pursuing a deal with like certain companies, and it was a lot of shadiness and just the industry stuff, and I was kind of laid back. Yeah, we can get into a story. We got some stories for y'all. But I didn't really pursue it myself like that, like I could have for my own reasons, but I'll pass it off to somebody else.
I remember me and B, this was like years later. We was reminiscing of 06. It was like a tour, a whole year like touring Columbus.
Bro.
We did probably like a venue every week, but I was like, B, man, I ain't never get nothing, right? Not, I did it for the Lord, but B was like, they looked at me like, word? B was just like, they used to hit me all the time.
Like, bro, like, I got honorariums all the time. But the other thing is, though, listen. The other thing is, let's just keep it a buck. It was mostly the white churches that I used to go to.
Oh, yeah.
That used to break me off.
Still.
It wasn't even a question.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying none of the black churches, shout out to New Covenant, New Birth, and Black. Yes, y'all bless me, all that. But I'm saying more often than not, it was never even a question or issue when you went to some of the white churches.
It was an exchange.
I ain't get paid by no black churches, bro. Like they said, you can get a table, and that we were supposed
promo.
to
Show your CD.
like,
We'll fix you a plate.
You get it. Here's the word. You get exposure.
Yeah.
Like that was supposed to be.
But my bad.
That's supposed to be payment. Go ahead.
Now shout out Mike Red though for putting us on the Now Never tour.
Yeah.
What was that? 09, something like that.
Yeah.
That was a fun experience. Great experience. Meeting a lot of other Christian artists. I think J Moss, some other artists.
Big Daddy Weave.
I'm sorry.
Was it Big Daddy Weave?
No, I'm thinking of 2024, J Moss. Shout out to J Moss. You still doing your thing. I'm thinking of the time. So I thought of.
I'm thinking of 2024, and I erupted into laughter.
That did not clean it up.
Listen,
Shout out to
listen. I'm gonna say this. You tell me y'all didn't think of those big cufflinks and like the big suit jackets.
Yes.
I mean, some of us were rapping in suit jackets back
some
then.
of y'all were.
The Blaze.
Exactly.
Hey, but that time, the Lisa McClendons of the world, and there were I think artists that were kind of proximate to rap that could have been more of a collaboration that made sense. And when we had that experience with Mike Red and B really is the one who put us on to that experience, I did think that just naively, I thought that was going to catapult us into more visibility. And you just don't know what those steps are to actually become that artist that is somewhat a big deal or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's, I know that there have been conversations even recently about gatekeepers or the lack thereof, and let's not say the gatekeepers are the reason why certain things didn't happen, et cetera, et cetera. I think we made tractions to varying degrees. We definitely made some traction, but speaking personally, I definitely had some people who did some blocking, because I wasn't. You talk about certain collaborations with the Lisa McClendons and certain people and stuff like that. I don't think I was safe enough to have some of those collaborations, and I know that sometimes the way that I would release my message as toned down as it was, still wasn't acceptable in some circles and rubbed some circles the wrong way. And flat out, there were situations where, there were some things that were just straight up blocked and stopped.
Yeah.
Nah, y'all can't do that, or we're not coming to that show if they go on before us. And, things like there's situations, it ain't really fully worth mentioning, but stuff like that, really did happen. So, I don't know. I've come to view success as, being obedient. To me, that's where I started to rate my success.
Yeah.
Because I've traveled and done shows in a lot of different places. I'm thankful to say I've got fans across the world that have listened to my music, still listen to my music, and I see sales and stuff pop up and spins and stuff pop up, all over the world. So that stuff is super dope, and I'm still amazed that stuff happened. But did I ever reach my fullest potential? No, not yet. I don't think, and that's another thing too. Like, who says that we have to be done?
Right.
If there's anything that I see now, like artists are showing that there's still a play, like Nas and his reemergence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the way that he's been able to finally start getting his flowers, even in current culture. And just some of the emphasis on lyricism and people liking some people who are actual lyricists. Like, it shows, bro. Who says that the door is closed? You know what I mean? And that the stuff ain't done. So I'm happy that I feel like I've been obedient. I feel like I've been a good steward to a degree of what God gave me. Sometimes I've been sitting on stuff way too long.
Yes, you have.
But that's changing.
Yes, you've been delivered.
So I'm just thankful that I've been able to, do what I've done, have the impact that I've had, and that it's not over yet. So as long as I've been obedient and have made music that I don't feel compromised who I was, didn't compromise my faith, was authentic, and that people rock with and are still rocking with, I'm cool with that.
So I appreciate the humility, and I know that's genuinely who you are at the end of the day. But I do want to ask, do you feel like because you took risks at a time where, and I mean like as far as content, like you explored content, you said nigga, you like actually gave a view of the Christian walk with more of a connection with the real struggles we have, and talked about it like in real time, not, there was a time where I was struggling in sin and God delivered me. It's like, nah, I'm here right now. So do you feel like you are the father of a lot of these rappers out here? The father. Because now it's not even a thing now, bro. Like,
I'll say I to be honest, like you are far more Christian rap aficionado than I could ever claim to be.
Okay.
So
fair.
I can't really speak on what came before me, but I do know that a lot of what I am seeing now are things that I was definitely shunned for, ostracized for, talked about for, and now I see people doing it and getting accolades and all that kind of stuff. And kudos to them. Like,
You threw the sticker on the album too, right? Reach? Did you throw the parental? Did you have that sticker on?
Yeah, I mean, bro, because
Independent.
That's Independence,
whatever.
okay.
Well, I don't remember, but the point is, like, I want to give people, like, people need grace to grow. You know what I mean? Like, some people were where they were, and I'm not mad at them for that. They've grown since then. They've had life experiences. I think we can all relate to that. Like, as you grow, you shouldn't look the same as you did 10 years ago. If you did, something is wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So,
Yeah.
Shout out to people who have continued to walk with the Lord, continue to have their faith challenged, have gone through different experiences that made them maybe understand me a little bit more now than they did back then. You know what I mean? It's all good with me. But yeah, man, I think that there are definitely people who are doing now to a lesser degree what I did then, and are having some success and being lauded for it. So,
bro, you
call that what you call it.
Listen, man, I'm a strong advocate of history. Like, I want people to understand where things came from. So I think your contribution to the space of Jesus-centered raps has a profound effect right now. So, I get it. You're not gonna say it the way that I would say it or feel it, but I definitely feel like you are a forerunner. And, you pretty much like, Sean Kemp in these streets. You got illegitimate children or legitimate children out here like, that don't really even know who their father is,
That could be a fair statement.
But you are the father.
You are the father.
You are the father.
Oh, God,
Like-
you just be talking about rap.
and still can rap with them or, teach them.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's what
I think we're better when we know like where stuff comes from and how to learn from those people who set the standard. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, dig at people or anything like that. It's more like, yo, are you educated about what this was? Because when people do stuff now, they're expecting it to feel like it's new or like the newest thing to attach to. And then when I like see these kinds of things, I'm like, man, I've seen this, I've lived this.
I've criticized this.
I've criticized. Okay, so that leads to our next. Hey, no, straight up. Oh, I love how the spirit is moving. So, what are some of you guys' memories of the G. Craig era? And let me be specific, like, because y'all are my homies, and you guys know things about me that most people don't know. So let me be more specific about this. What was y'all's memories of your experience with me during the G. Craig era?
He said with me.
How did I come off? What was I saying? Because people don't believe this.
Bro, you was strong. Your approach was super strong. I'll never forget. I was chilling over my girlfriend's house at the time, and you was like, bro, I gotta show you this video. Like, I need to come over like right now. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm in the middle of doing something. No, bro, like you in the middle of
Yeah, that was really what I was trying to. Yeah, the Lord sent me. He disturbed me.
Listen, anyway, y'all will not convict.
He'll always make a way of escape. Aaron, but go ahead, man.
You was like, no, I need to come right now, bro.
You are the man.
It's like,
Nah, good.
But nah, you were like, man, I gotta, man, right now. And I'm like, bro, like, all right, man, come on. We watching the video. Hey, man, you gotta throw all your stuff away, like, right now, bro. And I'm like, bro, like, let me digest this and understand what's going on. But bro, you came in strong, real strong.
I did.
You throw away
Yeah.
your Music Soul Child CDs?
No.
I ain't gonna lie.
No, you didn't, because I remember getting in your car and I was salty about it. Like, bro, why you still have it?
For real?
Yeah, I was judging.
I thought I got rid of everything. Maybe I didn't. But
You got a shrine to those right now.
yeah, Music Soul Child used to be my guy for sure.
It'll have to be me, but just like in response to, I wanna come back to what Cam said, because I was very legalistic, and when Cam was like, he would write about his life as a follower of Jesus, and your testimony is really one that I remember a lot when I talked to different people who were in different places of life who would respond to the gospel or trust Jesus, but it doesn't look perfect. It's not the altar call. But when when G. Craig was out, it was like anything that did not have Jesus in the music has to be thrown in the trash. So we had CD booklets at the time, and I was telling all of y'all to throw y'all CDs away. But I remember specifically Cam was just like, he wasn't going. He's like, nah, bro, like, if I don't feel moved, I'm not going to do it unless the Spirit is literally telling me.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, and
I don't be remembering stuff. Like, y'all got way better memories than me. Like, I typically like tend to like push stuff down anyway. That's just like my default. So I don't remember a lot of this, but that sounds like me. I was thinking when you asked the question, or you put out some of the questions like what we might be talking about, I was like, dang, did I throw away my stuff? I was like, I can't see me doing that. Like,
No, he got on. My brother and I used to be in a group called the Elevationists. I'm just saying this for the viewers, y'all know. And he got on the Elevationist album and cussed. He said, that's a hell of a thought. And and Chris and I at the time, Chris was literally producing from the keyboard so we wouldn't use samples. You remember this?
Yeah.
He said the samples were demonic, so at the end of the day, G. Craig had a chokehold on us.
Yeah.
But I remember approaching y'all, so Aaron was a little bit more, he was going to the same church as me, so it was like he couldn't escape me. But y'all had different responses. And I remember B specifically saying, no, I don't feel convicted.
honestly, I don't remember saying that. I was definitely impacted by G. Craig on a level. I will say this: there was levels. The responses were levels.
Yeah, I
there
agree.
was worse levels than you.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Like who was? I mean, like they took it to
Yeah.
people in your family was taking it to another level. But you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
But I ain't gonna bring that up. But that's
Call him
what.
Paul.
Yeah, right. So there were levels to it, and I was at a certain level. I mean, it was definitely conviction. I don't know if I threw all my stuff away, but I was definitely pulling away from some stuff. And then with the whole, look, all right, I'll tell you a little bit of insight. Me and Rollo, shout out to Rollo, dopest freestyler in Columbus, or maybe ever.
Streaming.
Cold. We were set to do a mixtape, spitting over beats like Slowly, Surely by Jill Scott. Just a bunch of dope, like Tribe Called Quest, J Dilla beats. And because of the G. Craig, we pulled out from that project. So I was impacted by the G. Craig on a certain level. And I mean, he literally, there was definitely some good things that came from it, but it was also a lot of over-the-top foolishness that came from it.
So I didn't, and this is my fault, I didn't preface this, but for some of you guys who are watching, you may not know who G. Craig Lewis is, and I have no fear of telling people to find out like what we're talking about. So he still is a minister and he's still preaching, and he created a series called The Truth About Hip Hop, and explored hip hop from the vein of looking at its history, its roots, and ultimately he concluded that hip hop by nature was spawned from the devil and the devil's intent to influence all the minds of the young people. And it was irredeemable from the core, as a culture, as an expression, as an identity. And in that time, he was very influential on a lot of people who were making Christian music at the time, because he created this hard line of separation of sacred and secular. So you wasn't supposed to be listening to Jay-Z. As a matter of fact, he would play a song from Jay-Z, from a mixtape actually, where there is supposedly a message backwards in the song. He played it back and it said 666 murder, murder Jesus. So the entire music catalog was corrupted in some way. It was a spawn of Satan. So that hardcore black and white message, I think when anybody speaks in black and white, it feels like authority. It feels like, yes, that's true. There's no way to counter this. And for young minds, I was in my early 20s, I took it to heart and threw away all of my, first of all, my Jay-Z CDs. I just purchased the Black Album. And many of us were impacted by that in terms of our approach to music going forward. But I asked specifically about me because I was legalist number one. And I feel like, for a while it was kind of weird, interacting with everybody because I don't think everybody was on the levels that I know me and Chris were on.
Well, me and Cam was under the same camp, and we had a few fellow, men of God artists making mixtapes using 50 J's instrumentals. I know I ain't gonna shout them out right now, but we kind of felt like we had a pass in a way because our pastor allowed that to happen in our house. So everybody's church didn't really adopt the message as strictly as others. So I was kind of on the fence because truth be told, when I was away, I was still listening to, secular radio. I feel like as an artist, that's where I got my influence. So there was still some lingering. I won't say there was still influence. We all got influenced by secular music. Sure. So no matter how you spin it, it's gonna follow you somewhere in your style. So
Facts. Yeah, you had your Scott Storch, and B had his Wu-Tang, and
my Nas, and
you're not,
Jay-Z,
and I just, I don't know, man. I have a hard time. I think you said something that was key, like, like the black and white. When you make a stance and you call things like it's either black or white, you sound more authoritative. And I'm just one that most often doesn't just take what somebody says as gospel just because they said it and they said it with their chest out. Like, I don't really care how you say it. Like, some stuff just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm not just gonna rock with it just because you said it with your chest out. Like, if I feel convicted, I feel convicted, but conviction comes from the Holy Spirit. It doesn't come from you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how boisterous or loud you say things or how authoritative you might say stuff, nigga, if it don't hit me like that, then I don't care what you say. So I think that there was good stuff that he shared, and I think that, I don't think any of us would disagree that music has a powerful influence. For sure. It can be used in a certain way. but everything he said wasn't gospel just because he said it.
Right.
And so, learning how to decipher what is good, what do I need to take from this? God, what are you saying to me through this message? Take that stuff and throw the rest of the stuff out, I think is a valuable skill. And if you hadn't learned that, then I suggest that you do. You know what I mean? Like, learn how God speaks and what he's saying to you. Everybody is not exactly the same. And there's so much opinion that gets masqueraded as absolute truth. And that's just dangerous. When you start following somebody's opinion and beginning to speak that and view that as truth, that's a dangerous spot to be in. So, just take the good with the bad, learn how to filter it all through the Holy Spirit. That's why it's so important to have the Holy Spirit and not just live life by yourself. Like, he should be showing you what's what. Like, the very people who knew the scriptures the best, who spoke the most authoritatively, did not know God himself when he was here in the flesh. They called him a blasphemer.
Right.
Like, how can I blaspheme myself? I am God, nigga. You know what I mean? Like, how do I do that? You know what I'm saying? But they was totally wrong, but they were confident and they spoke with their chest out to the point where they crucified him.
Right.
And so, like, when I read stuff like that and I see stuff like that, it's like, bro, you got to be real careful about how you let somebody who seems to be a voice of authority and a figure who knows what they're talking about just because they say it a certain way. There could be no God in what they're saying. So just learning how to walk with the Holy Spirit and know for yourself what God is saying, take into account what they're saying, like, but really bounce that up against, what you read, what you study, what the Holy Spirit is saying to you. Learning how to do that. If you ain't living life that way, you're gonna be all over the place. You're gonna be tossed to and fro.
Message.
I agree. I was gonna say the same thing. Know God for yourself, and also it was hard to digest some of his message because of his approach. How he came at men and women of God, like, forcefully, like, publicly.
He was funny sometimes.
Like,
though.
it was funny, but it wasn't even like he attempted to. Hey, what up, Tay? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really agree with this.
Right.
Nah, he just went.
That's nasty.
Just went straight at everybody.
Bro, I think we got a message. Rick D, shout out to Rick D and Priest. But I'm pretty sure that there was a list of some sort. G. Craig would talk to different artists or like reach out to them and say, yo, if you don't denounce this, then basically, I'm washing my hands of you and you are just, unholy and unclean type of thing. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, I press a lot of stuff down, but I'm pretty sure that they reached out to Infinite and was like, yo, what side of the line do you stand on? You know what I'm saying? Type of stuff. And like, to have the gall of a nigga to do something like that, like, who are you, nigga?
y'all was still
that's your mission in life? Like, the Holy Spirit really, like, God just said, listen, this is what I need for you to do for my sake. Please go out.
But hold on, was y'all still using secular beats with the instrumentals on the mixtape?
Probably, nigga.
okay.
Like, who
That's why it
cares about
came
what that
back.
nigga says, bro? Like,
I know, but
I don't know, bro. I don't think I ever stopped. I'm gonna do what I feel God is leading me to do, regardless of what anybody or how anybody feels about it. I don't care.
yeah.
I don't care.
It's funny when we look back. It's just like, man, like, we were young. Man.
I'm about to say, because there probably that affects a lot is youth. And, Cam, I think you're older, not just in age, but in experience. And I think you've probably seen a trick or two. Everybody probably has. But I think when you're younger and you're zealous for Jesus, you want to please him. That is a vulnerable place.
Yes.
So when somebody says, this is how you do it, and you don't know any better, you haven't lived enough life, you haven't had any experiences, then your heart response is like, this plus this equals godliness or holiness, then okay, I just want to do this. But you don't maybe take the extra step of investigating or asking God what, really it looks like to be led by the Spirit in that decision. So
Yeah, man. I think I had the benefit, thankfully, of like not coming to God. Like, my real relationship with God didn't start with an altar call or with a church service.
Yeah.
It started with a near-death experience, and then that led to blunts and a Bible reading, asking questions myself, and learning how to hear. I could hear from him myself. He answered a lot of questions for me without speaking through another man. So I know how I can hear from him. I know that he speaks to me. I know that he can show me stuff. And some people don't ever have that relation. Their relationship doesn't start with a relationship with Jesus. It starts with a relationship with church or religion. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like that's their introduction, and that's where they start to get all of their information, and they learn how to. They receive everything spoon fed. Versus me, I was like, nah, this is I'm getting it straight from the source, and I know like so, and that's one of the reasons too why I've never, no matter what kind of experiences I've had, good or bad, with the church and et cetera, I've never walked away from him because I know him to be true. There's nobody, no matter what anybody does and how they may fail or show their humanity, you'll never get me to believe that God ain't real. I've had too many experiences with him himself for me to ever doubt that.
Straight up.
Church trauma.
Preaching.
Now dance on it and speak in tongues. Nah, man, that's so good, and I think that is wise counsel for younger people now. I think there are so many different voices of opinion out there on different platforms that will speak directly as if they have a word for you and your decision making in your life, and you do have to know what the voice of God is. You must know what it means for God to talk to you.
And he is still speaking.
Man, come on.
He is still speaking for real. He is still doing stuff like supernatural things still happen.
Yes,
like, you know what I mean? Like getting to know him for yourself is the starting, that's the starting blocks of life. Like for real, in the marathon that you're gonna be on. If you don't have that, I don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Or how you
Let me
win.
add this real quick, because with Cam's situation, obviously, and he's not saying this, but obviously it's not always going to work out that way. Some people their first encounter is going to be an altar call. They might get invited to a church, but it's up to that ministry, to that preacher, to that community to usher them into how it looks to have a relationship with God for themselves. So they don't rely on the spoon feeding. Now, fortunately, Cam, that's how Cam came in, but it don't happen like that often. So it's up to us in leadership in the churches to make sure, and and I'm grateful for that, coming up in the church I came up in, learning how to pray on my own, learning how to seek God on my own, how to worship, how to create my own atmosphere, and all the other stuff, and lead my home. Exactly. So I just wanted to add that on, because there's a responsibility. There's been some balls dropped, pause, but you know what I mean?
And I'll go a step further and say beyond even the church's responsibility is your responsibility.
Yep.
Like it's your responsibility.
100%.
Don't take the stance that you have to get and receive from somebody else. Like Jesus came to tear the veil, right? Like you have direct access to the Lord yourself. So it's good to have a pastor. It's good to have community. It's good to have people who are seasoned and know the word and can kind of train you up. But there is nothing will substitute a personal relationship with Jesus, with the Lord. Like learning how to talk to him yourself, learning how to hear from him yourself, and learning how to walk with him, because people are going to fail every trip. They're going to fail because we're humans, and that's just what we do. We can have the best intentions, all of that kind of stuff. They are going to fail you. He is the one thing that will never fail you. So learning how to hear his voice for yourself and learning how to rock with him and walk with him is going to be the key to your victory. Otherwise, you're going to be tossed to and fro, and you're going to be disappointed. Like that's just the way it's going to be.
So in the vein of hearing from the Lord for yourself, what would you tell your mid-20s-year-old self about hearing from God in dating?
You just swerved the car around.
I mean, listen, bro, like you
Cars spinning on the altar offering.
because B said the prophetic word about music and stuff. I got the prophetic word about I'm gonna be your wife, or
So did I.
That kind of stuff.
I did a skit about it.
I mean, come on, and I think we all to some degree did have that. But what would you say to your younger self about how the Lord leads you to choose your wife? I know, listen, bro, y'all my homies, so I know how this personally. but think about us younger.
But waited to 30, man.
You would have waited till 30?
Why?
Man. I would have had a little bit more experience.
Dang, you wanted to smash some more girls?
I mean, aside from that, just personality, like getting to know
Edit that
people.
out.
No, getting to
I'm kidding.
Nigga, no, he ain't kidding.
I wanted some more experience.
No, hey,
Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
no, real talk though. Hey man, I ain't even gonna get into all that. The world don't need to know that. But look, nah, just get
Go viral, Nigel.
If number 3.
get to know.
Expose her.
No, just get. No, cause all right. So listen, I went through a period of like romantic solitude. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
remember that.
before I met, my children's mother.
Yeah.
It was a very sacred courtship.
Nigga, you were so cautious. You gonna holler with your description.
But it's cool. I understand.
Listen, it was a very sacred
I
courtship.
understand.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But just getting to know.
Take your time.
Just
Take your time, Mills. Pass him your preacher rag, bro.
Nah, but
Take your time, Mills.
I'ma just leave it at that, man. Take your time.
Take your time. That's a word. That's a word. Take your time.
Flat
son.
out. I mean, listen, man. Like,
Yeah.
God is good, man. Like, God has walked with me, through this whole season. Like, so I've learned a lot in my life, and I got a lot wiser. And I feel like it's no accidents. Like, I feel like, God's made a great situation out of a rough situation. So I don't regret anything. I felt like I was very mature in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And I felt like I proved that. But at the same time, like, with time comes more wisdom, and but it doesn't hurt, with being cautious and taking your time. So that's
I probably would have waited too. Though,
I was gonna
for
say.
real.
So I want you to speak to this. Did it feel like we were being told we had to make a decision, like quickly or like before we were ready?
I don't know if I would say that we were told, but I think us being young and trying to please God, it was just like, Lord, I don't want to burn. I just want to be pleased in your sight. And let me just go ahead. And I think it rushed decisions where the one thing I will say, first of all, I do wish that I would have taken my time. Secondly, I think it would have been beneficial if we had men in the church that would just sit us down and be like, listen, I need you to think about some of these older niggas that been married and been through some stuff. I need you to sit and think about what you want to commit to. This is what this means, especially in my situation. Like, you going into a family with 2 kids, what does that look like? Have you thought about like long term? Have you thought about like how you're going to approach trying to lead this family and what's your method in doing that? Because I came in like guns blazing, and it messed my family up low key, which I regret. I wish I could go back to, but I would have taken my time for sure. I would have been wiser. Yeah.
I'm thinking about these young dudes, and what they contend with now. It's not
God bless y'all.
Oh man. I mean, we all are proximate to younger people in different ways. Yeah. Like, sometimes by choice, sometimes not by choice. So I want us to be able to give whatever wisdom we can. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it just comes through reflection of our personal experience. It's not like, standing in front of everybody trying to teach some formal lesson or some formal outline. But to your point, bro, like if we just are able to like school someone on some level, or just like introduce the possibility for a conversation about this decision, because I'll be honest with y'all, from what I hear, a lot of the younger folks don't even value marriage like that.
Oh no, yeah.
Like it feels like we were presented, like you said, we gotta please God, we can't burn.
Yep.
And you know, you got to do something with this, because the longer you stay with this person in this girlfriend role, the more boundaries will be crossed. And, you know, some people say you had to date for like 2 years. And I really think that was terrible advice for some of us, you know, because it was a burn, bro. It was a burn. Like, you know, like we burned.
Yeah.
We burned. Didn't our hearts burn? Like, you know, it was one of those things. It was like legalistic. This is what it takes to prepare for marriage. So you got to go through these classes for this amount of time. I'm burning, bro. You know, like you teaching me this with this person. After this, we going to the movies. We're going to talk about some of this for an hour. And then we got to decide if you're going home or not.
You know what, bro? Like, I would say this. You will never fully be prepared for marriage.
Okay.
You just
For sure. Nah,
Let's just start.
You will never,
That's really
there
not
isn't,
fully.
there isn't a manual, there isn't a certain amount of time that will ever prepare you for what you're going to get into and what you're going to face in the course of a marriage. Like, that relationship is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, when you are thinking about like merging two people with two totally different sets of life experiences and becoming one person, that doesn't even make sense. And the way that happens and what that looks like is going to be crazy, whether you do it at 22 or whether you do it at 32, whatever. Like, you're going to have these experiences. People are going to grow. People are going to change. When you meet two people, when two people meet at 22 or two people meet at 32, 10 years later, those people, again, should not look the same.
For sure.
And sometimes they might be growing in the same direction. Sometimes they grow like this, and then what? Like, how do you love through that? Or how does that impact you, right? So, like, bro, I would say, like, advice is, if I was going to give anybody any advice, it's just to go into it with your eyes open and understanding, like, that, first of all, nobody is going to be perfect. So you just stop wasting time looking for the perfect person, because they ain't really out there. And know that people are going to change. But look at their, like, really understand family dynamics, bro, the way that DNA works. And the way that the mind is set up and stuff like that, like, really understand the situation that you might be locking yourself into.
Yeah.
Man.
Take a little bit of time to look at moms and pops. What is that dynamic like? What are they like? What is their relationship like? All of that kind of stuff. If you can get like glimpses into that, because, bro, you will be walking into situations that are not your fault, but that become your responsibility. Shout out to Dr. Forbes. Like, there are certain things that you're gonna, like, where did this come from? Like, she's grown up with certain things that her dad did or didn't give her, her mom did or didn't give her. You have no clue. Past boyfriends, past hurts, past life experiences, traumas, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And you like, yo, I've only seen the surface of this person, because you're never going to get to know somebody until you really in the trenches with them. Right? Like, when you're experiencing life, you're like, yo, where did that come from?
Right.
So just having some kind of an understanding and not walking into it blindly, at least kind of give yourself the best possible chance at being successful by doing a little bit of research, looking at like family histories, looking at what, and just preparing yourself for what you might be getting yourself into.
A conversation I would have with my
to
son.
say to this too.
A real conversation I would have with my son, exactly what you said, and me living by those words as well. Where I'm at right now, yeah, it's 100%, Cam.
There's so much.
And that's a lot. I'm sorry. It's a lot at 25. What you saying? My mind wasn't there, bro. I didn't know anything about childhood trauma, people, how they deal with that, and how that affects, you know, relationships and things like that. Like, my mind wasn't there at all. So,
All right, so that was random. That's something we love to say in the fold. Coming to America, you know. Anyway, so listen.
I never heard that.
There's been mad inside stuff going on this whole thing. Like, we have to create a whole glossary of stuff that we
Listen,
do.
real quick. Daryl, at the little dinner party that became the fake engagement, remember? He was talking to Eddie. He was looking over at Lisa and letting him know that he was about to make it an engagement party. He was like, sometimes you got to tell her what to do.
Yeah.
And then he went in and proposed.
Now listen to that point, and I want you to remember what you was getting ready to say.
I remember.
Not a lot of y'all young people watching some of these older movies, these classics, and you know we can't get into it right now. But y'all's movies that y'all coming out right now,
Trash.
they're not
Trash.
classics.
Trash.
You know, and we've lost the sense of the black movie classic.
Yes.
I don't even know if they would consider them classics. Like, would they say would people have of this younger generation? Do they have a movie that they would consider a classic?
No.
It's like we talked about.
That's a good question.
It's Get Out. Get Out is their classic.
That would have to be one of them, bro. Well, I mean, like when you think about it, like what references, what movies are there?
And
in
Black
the
Panther.
last, what, 15, 20
Black
years?
Panther, Get Out.
15 years?
Black Panther and Get Out.
What else?
Yikes.
You still got it?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Some,
Fire away.
I mean, it could be any genre. I mean, the Marvel series. I mean, a couple from
Black
the Marvel
Panther
Black
and Get Out.
black
Get Out.
movies.
A couple
Yeah,
from
Black movies.
Black particularly. Okay.
There are.
You ain't gonna throw no Tyler Perry films in there?
No.
No.
You throw
Come
it
on,
in
why
there.
they get
Yeah,
married?
yeah.
Since we on the topic.
That's old. Look at how long has that been
That's
out?
right. That's 10, 15 years.
Oh, so you
ago.
said 10? Oh, damn. It's been that long?
And that's why they're doing so many reboots and remakes.
Yeah.
So this is a whole nother pod we can do on this topic.
Right, but
alone.
back to what you was about to say.
All right. So first of all, I got married at 29. I'm hitting 15 years this year. Shout out to my wife.
Yeah.
Church class.
You said what?
Church class.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I'll say this. I'll piggyback on what Cam said and just add some things. I agree 100% that it's a challenge regardless of what age you get married. However, I will say that with age typically comes experience.
Right.
And I do believe it can, like Cam even kind of circle back and added to it, that it can help. It can help you. And one thing I want to hit on that I discovered, I've always had an affinity for counseling. I've always had an interest in counseling. And my wife now, she is a licensed counselor. One thing I've discovered, and this is no knock against the church, because some of the ministries, they try to do the best they can with the resources they have. So this is not a knock. However, I've discovered that there are levels in counseling, all right? And as far as the effectiveness and the education and the study behind it. And so I've noticed that as I've gotten older and gotten into counseling with my wife and by myself, not just because we have issues, sometimes that may be the case, but sometimes it's just preemptive counseling. Sometimes it's just a check-in counseling. So I've noticed that there's levels, is all I'm saying. So I believe that if some of these people coming up getting married could sit down with their, soon-to-be spouse and really get some professional, good counseling that can really get into some areas, get things to the surface before you cross that threshold, so that you know what you're going into. Because a lot of the times you're sideswiped and you don't know, vice versa.
Yep.
And you have to adjust. And yes, that's a part of life, but there's no reason, especially in 2024, that we can't better equip our young people to be more prepared for the fight. Because it's a fight. It's a challenge. The devil wants to destroy your union. We can go into all the scriptures and all that other stuff to prove that.
Take your lineage.
The point is that it's spiritual warfare. It's all of that. And we can better equip our young men and women to go into this. To your point, Taylor, the expectations over the years have been Disney-like and have been just kind of superficial. And like you said, Aaron, I do feel like there could have been more men to sit us down and say, look at her. She beautiful, right? I know you love her, but guess what? She gonna get on your nerves some days. There's some days you're not gonna like her, and vice versa. You know what I mean? Like this real talk like that. So I feel like we're in a position to do that now, and I'm more than willing to do that.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what you just said too, you said before they get to the threshold. For some situations, when I talk to younger people about getting married, that's the first thing I tell them. Go to a counselor, get some real counseling.
Yeah.
Because y'all may not even get there for real. Like it may get to a situation where it's just like, you know what, we thought that we were compatible, or not compatible. I don't want to use that word because, that can change. But like we thought that we understood each other and that we could work on this, but I'm seeing some things that's making me question if I want to go this route because of X, Y, Z reasons. Yeah. So
And I'll even add on to that, like aside from or even before, you might even have found somebody who you're considering, you know what I'm saying, marrying. nigga, go get counseling for yourself.
For yourself, yes.
Like, start to understand yourself. There are things that you have gone through that may be normal to you because of the situations and circumstances, but those are not normal situations and circumstances.
Yep.
And there are traumas and things that you have dealt with that you don't even
suppressed.
realize
Yep.
are impacting you, or the ways that that's impacting you.
Yeah.
So as you're in your singleness and you navigating this dating world, go start to work on yourself. If men and women both did that and started to really unpack some of the things that might be a hindrance or might be a trip up for their partners and their spouses, their future spouses, things will be much better when them unions actually come together.
Absolutely.
So regardless of if you're in a space, I am a huge advocate for counseling. Go seek counseling. Yes, seek the Lord, but also seek somebody who actually has understanding and wisdom on some things, how to pull some of those things out, how to help you walk through and navigate some of the challenges, some of the issues that you faced and dealt with through your childhood and stuff like that, and learn how to become a better version of yourself. Learn to start doing some of that healing before you meet your potential spouse, so that you're not expecting that person to actually heal you or having to deal with all of the crap that comes along with you that needed to be healed and dealt with before y'all even got married.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Listen, I just got to say, as the resident pastor in the room, that generally I don't do marriage counseling because I don't feel equipped. I don't feel like I can offer the level of counsel that is needed to either help prepare or guide a lot of married couples through their different seasons of marriage. Maybe some of that has to do with my youth, but I'm also kind of deconstructing the expectations of pastors in that sense, to where why should every pastor be expected to do marriage counseling?
And be a professional.
Right. I know for a fact some pastors should not be
Ill-equipped.
talking to people about their marriage. Now, to some degree or whatever, I can point people to the scriptures. I can pray with folks. Those are the general things that I think any pastor can do. But I don't think that's the expectation. I think the expectation is along the lines of what's being said is professional help. And I'm a big advocate. Why not both? Why not talking to your pastor, keeping them in the loop, and seeking professional counseling and watching God use those resources as a multitude of counselors by which you find wisdom.
There's wisdom.
Which is specifically in the scriptures. So
100%.
I think we did trial and error. We learned what we could through our own experiences.
Yeah.
So fellas, we can talk all night about so many different things, but I want to kind of land the plane with this question because we're in an era where a lot of folks are frustrated with the church and frustrated with pastors. I think we've all had some good pastors in our lives, and I just wanted to ask, generally speaking, what was some wisdom or counsel that you got from one of your pastors over your life that is still good or relevant, or that you haven't forgotten? Because there's still pastors out there doing a good job. They're trying. I'll just say it that way. They're actually trying to help. But as we're in our older years, we've been around the world and yeah. But what are some things, or what is something that comes to mind that one of your pastors either said to you or did for you that you're still grateful for, so we can give honor to whom honor is due?
I guess I'll start and just say, with growing up at higher ground, always abounding assemblies.
Incorporated.
Yep. Bishop Sherman S. Watkins, he would always make comments, even and regardless of where you were in your situation, super high, super low, he would just say, "Keep living, baby." And I'm like, that statement alone says so much.
So much.
So it's just I just remember that, regardless of how much I feel like I've, accomplished or didn't accomplish, just keep living. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say.
That's good.
I can't think of anything in particular right now, but shout out to Dr. Forbes. I tell everybody I became a man when I stepped foot in the church over at Columbus Christian Center, and a lot of gems, a lot of wisdom, a lot of things he planted inside of me that I carry with me today. Like I said, I felt like I became a man when I stepped foot in the ministry and I thank God for what he's still doing over there at the church. So.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned and alluded this earlier, but Bishop Brian Keith Williams, All Nations Church, my father in the gospel. I learned a lot working close with him for years. Just, even just attire, like suits. You know what I mean? I wasn't wearing no suits before that like that. And just learning the posture of a man. And I learned a lot about honor under his ministry, honor, just an environment of honor, just honoring people. And so that was very, very effective in my life. Just understanding that concept, whether it be my wife or my friends or whoever's around me. And then lastly, what I mentioned earlier is prayer and spiritual warfare, understanding. And I know all of marriage is not just spiritual, but his ministry really helped me in that sense to fight, to understand and discern that, yeah, we're having a disagreement, but you can also see beyond the disagreement to see what the enemy's doing. And I feel like I've been gifted with that discernment to not only see it, but know how to pray, know how to lead my family in prayer, teach my kids to pray, like all that stuff I learned from that ministry. And that's invaluable. So just across life. So, just wanted to say that.
Yeah. I think I mentioned earlier and shouted out Dr. Forbes from CCC. One of the things that he said that always stuck with me is it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. That's something that is powerful and that I think about quite often. But not only words that he spoke that still resonate, but then just him bringing in other speakers. There's another speaker that he brought in, Dr. Ivy Hilliard, I believe his name is. And he said this, and this changed my life. It literally changed my life, and I'll never forget it. And it was scriptural, based off of something that I think it might have been something that Paul said, but I can't remember. But the thing that he said was, once I hear from God, I counsel with man no more. And that is something that, first of all, just it resonates with me personally, because I don't really care too much for what most people say. But once you've learned to hear the voice of God, there are going to be people who will try to say things opposite. They could be very well intentioned. I remember reading a story in the Old Testament about a prophet who literally, an older prophet, seasoned prophet, who spoke to a young prophet. A young prophet heard from God. God said, yo, you go deliver this word and you get your tail home. Old prophet was just lonely and wanted to kick it. So young prophet went and delivered the word. The old prophet was like, yo, come here. Come chill with me. Young prophet was like, nah, I'm supposed to get home. Old prophet was like, God told me to get to the crib. Old prophet was like, no, well, God told me that you're supposed to come eat with me. Young prophet decided to listen to the older prophet, went and go ate with the older prophet. Later on, the voice of the Lord really spoke to the older prophet and was like, yeah, now God is speaking to me and he's telling me, since you disobeyed the voice of the Lord, you gonna die. Nigga, what? So, like, when I hear stuff like that, like, once you've heard from God, don't counsel with nobody no more. Don't care what anybody else says. Once I know that I've heard from the Lord, there is nothing that's going to sway me. There's nothing that you can say. You can prophesy. You can say it authoritatively. You can do whatever you want. When I know that I've heard the voice of the Lord, you're not swaying me from that. And so I'll never forget when he said that, and that stuck with me forever. And I encourage y'all to be the same way. Like, once you hear from the Lord, first of all, once you learn to hear his voice, and then when you know you've heard from him, don't worry about what anybody else got to say. You hold on to that, come hell or high water, and just stick to that, because that is where your victory is going to land.
Hey, man, I needed that for me. So I'm going to be like Snoop when he got his name on the Hollywood Star of Fame, talking about pastors. I want to thank me. I'm kidding. My dad has been an excellent pastor. I'll also come up under Bishop Watkins. And I'll just echo what Aaron said, because I got the same counsels to keep living. Even if you think you know something now, keep on living, because life will humble you and at least cause you to reinvestigate what you thought you knew. But if you know what God is saying, then at least you got a solid rock to stand on. So
Can I say one more? Yeah, go ahead. I just want to say one more thing, man. Don't wait for a crisis or something to happen in your life for you to start worshiping and praising God and getting in His Word. Get in it now when things are going
good.
smooth.
Yes.
Don't wait till there's a wave, because the only thing that's going to stabilize you and keep you grounded and keep you with a solid foundation if you establish the relationship today, tonight. Don't wait for something that happen tomorrow, because it could knock you off your square. It could. So get into your word today. That's my encouragement.
That was good, bro. You really still walk with the
We
Lord.
put we put all of y'all's social
man.
media handles on here
man.
so everybody can start following.
You was trying to
you
go
and-
viral for real.
Yeah, nah, for real. Like this is good. But these is my homies. This is what we do. This is literally what we do. And this is in front of cameras. But what's so dope about this is we literally we do this off camera
all the time.
Like when we have whatever accountability sessions, and I hate calling it that now, but like we just truly try to exhort one another to continue seeking the Lord and
Get you a
listening.
community, man. You
Yeah.
need a community.
Yeah.
You are not built to do this life by yourself.
Big facts.
Like, get you a community that you can really be you with, that will call you to the carpet and let you know when you're wrong, that will encourage you, that can lift you up, all of that kind of thing. But get you a community. Don't try to do this by yourself, man. You will fail.
And some regular people too, like not like these whatever folks who you think have prestige or popular, just some regular folks who will see you as you are. You know what I mean? Like I love the fact that I can just be Taylor around these guys. You know what I mean? And they've seen all versions of me. And when I stand up in front of people publicly, it is the confidence that I can carry with me that my brothers know me and are praying for me to be able to do what God's called me to do. So I didn't want to put no disclaimers out here, but I just felt like since the last podcast I talked about how we as Christians and culture, we're just scared of being and modeling different things. But we have some adult beverages tonight. We had adult beverages. And I just want to say, you know, for all of the folks who say like it's the best witness to not have no drinks or anything like that, no alcohol.
Read your Bible, nigga.
Man, you got to be able to see people. You got to see people take drinks or have drinks responsibly.
Yes.
You know, like people who are mature in their faith, who aren't going to be completely thrown off the wagon because they had one sip of something. Like, listen, fam, we are grown and we literally have the Holy Spirit, as we've heard so much tonight. And part of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. So we can have a daggone drink and we can have, obviously, an edifying conversation. We wanted to model that for you. So Selah. And think about that tonight. And I'm saying that with a little bit of like, you know, energy because, you know, I get it. I understand. But we need more examples of the spectrum of people who are choosing to follow Jesus and represent their convictions in different ways.
Indeed.
So I'm thankful that I can have a drink with my brothers and we can talk real life and we can also experience ministry as much as we're trying to give it out. So thank y'all for tuning in. We had time today. This is just part one. I can't wait to bring my brothers back, but appreciate all y'all for tuning in. Y'all be blessed.
Yeah.